Welcome back to Fast Market here on the TD Ameritrade Network. Let's bring in our next guest for our cash tag segment, and that's going to be Andy Swan, the co-founder of LikeFolio. Welcome back to the show, Andy.
Thank you.
All right, so we're talking Pinterest. I've had some positive commentary out of analysts. Barron's had an article this weekend saying it's probably a buy here. Do you have the data that supports this grind higher that we've seen over the last probably 9 or 10 months from 16 to about 28?
Yeah, this is a stock that we called a turnaround on back in November, got bullish on, really for a few reasons. I think the primary one is that Pinterest has really set itself apart from other web destinations, as it's a place where people go for ideas and to share content and to share ideas with each other, but also they're going with the expectation that they can shop there and that they can actually purchase there. So ads on Pinterest are not seen as distractions or obtrusive. They're seen as helpful and generally welcomed by the community there. And you can really see it in our data. The number of people talking about actually buying something while on Pinterest from a sponsored brand has increased 31% year over year, and is really just continuing to drive higher. It's a behavior that Pinterest encourages and benefits from. So we think Pinterest is a real leader in this space, and the ability to actually produce shoppable content that people don't even have to leave the site in order to make those purchase decisions and complete the purchase. So real leadership position there. That in tandem with the fact that Pinterest is truly loved by its users and it's a growing user base, we think there's a real tailwind there for the company. So it's doing a great job of keeping customers happy while at the same time making those users more profitable and bigger drivers of revenue for the company. So we think Pinterest looks great here, should continue for quite a while.
Andy, I'm not comfortable in the role of downer on this show. It's not easy for me to do this, but I'm worried about, it looks like a lot of their new growth is foreign. And foreign doesn't make the same, it's not as profitable. I read an article that says 82% of their revenue is from US and Canada, even though they only have 21% of their monthly average users. So they make the bulk of their money in US and Canada. They're growing foreign, but I'm worried about, that's just one of the problems. I'm worried about their margins. 2021, their margins were 32%. 2022, they're 16%, Andy. So in this declining growth environment that we find ourselves, can this name hang on, I guess is my question.
Yeah, it is a tough environment, that you brought up, kind of the Kevin Downer angle is a good angle today, because there are real headwinds. The advertisers have less money to spend, and that is a big deal for a company that gets most of its revenue through ad sales. And so that is going to take a while to work itself out. The reason why at LikeFolio we're bullish on this is because we think long term this is best of breed in terms of attracting those ad dollars and returning a positive ROI to advertisers. So we think that the slowdown in ad growth could actually benefit Pinterest as advertisers start to look for where their money is actually working the best. In terms of the international audience, I hear you. A lot of the growth is coming from international. That isn't the place where historically they've made their money, but I think we could have said the same thing about Google 15 years ago or Tesla 15 years ago. So I think you just have to give these companies time to figure out how to monetize those international users. It's a different animal, but I think Pinterest execution-wise has proven that they're very good at figuring these things out, and I give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and going through the happiness chart that you guys sent us, Andy, I was really surprised to see that above, the levels of Snapchat and Instagram and such, as far as that goes. Now, does that lend into a better monetization of ad dollars that companies might spend? Because if you look down towards the bottom here, you got TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. I mean, that's that generation that the ad dollars typically go after. But Pinterest is probably the older demographic, and they got more money to spend anyway, right?
Yeah, they do. And I think what this chart kind of tells me is that Pinterest has found a way, to be a social media platform that stays away from most of the kind of seriously negative, toxic commentary or debates that happen on other platforms. Pinterest is truly a place where people go to share ideas with each other, to learn from each other, to get inspired, and to translate that into actual purchase decisions. So I think they've found a really good niche that they're going to defend really well. And I think advertisers, quite frankly, should be looking for those types of platforms where you're not likely to find yourself in boiling hot water because one of your brand images was used by the wrong person or associated with the wrong tweet, which happens all the time. So I think Pinterest is kind of the safe play, and they're proving that they can monetize really well.
Yeah, Andy, they don't have earnings for a couple of weeks. The stock's moved up about 23% from the last time you guys called it a buy. Do you guys have like a score? Is it still positive on this company?
Yeah, positive long term for sure. I think that in the short term, there's still that headwind that Kevin alluded to. The downer Kevin was right. I think there's something for us to work through for a little while. I think for us, Pinterest on dips is a no-brainer if you got a long-term mindset.
All right, great stuff, great data as usual, Andy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that's Andy Swan, co-founder of LikeFolio, breaking down the data. Hey,